Congratulations, of course, on getting this license. But I have to say, I looked at everyone else that got one, and your name kind of sticks out because you're an online insurer. Everybody else is mostly out of Hong Kong or a traditional banking unit, I should say. But what exactly is going to be how you actually stand out in the rest of the pack here and being a new face in this market?
Yes, ZhongAn actually is the first online insurance company in China. We started operating our business in 2013. And to get the new license here in Hong Kong marks the first move into Hong Kong market. It's the first time we are actually be able to operate a financial service in Hong Kong. And this is also the first time we enter into banking business. So basically it's a new product powered by new technology targeting to the new customer in the new market. So actually what we have accumulated in China is basically the technology platform and the online operation experience. So we are very confident that we can bring all this experience and technology platform to the building of the virtual bank in Hong Kong, and we will be able to benefit the users here.
What's the focus on the services that you're going to be offering now? Is it more going to be on what you do best, which is insurtech, or are you going to look into more of the traditional sides of retail banking now too?
Yeah, actually, the way we are going to build our product will be focusing on the core services at the very beginning. But what we are going to provide is a superb user experience. It's very important for us to really provide the sleek and intuitive and trustworthy experience. The biggest difference between virtual bank and the traditional bank is the only contact point between user and the bank is the mobile app. So you need to be able to provide this superb user experience. And the way I approach that is we are going to have this community-driven development model in which we are going to invite the users who has their opinion to join the development and the discussion of a product design so that we be able to really design the product the user needs and really polish the details they care about.
I mean, to Yvonne's point, I think what is the kind of traits or capabilities that ZhongAn is bringing to the table? Is it because of the transaction volume that you can handle? I remember that you guys can handle hundreds of even thousands of transactions per second. Or it's more like the user interface, like you alluded. The app. What's kind of really attracting, for the HKMA or for the consumers that you think would like you to be on board?
I would say this is about end-to-end experience.
Okay.
The virtual bank is not allowed to have a branch to operate. So that means actually the operating process is very different from the traditional ones. So you have to have the capability to design the product really for the online users. You will be able to operate, do the promotions in the digital manner, and you will be able to handle all the customer service, all these back-end office processes in the digital process. This is very important. It has to be based on the technology. And as you just mentioned, we have the capability to handle the high volume. This is the basis for everything, but you need to be able to build everything, the logic, based on this capability. You will be able to handle the financial compliance, the risk management, all these requirements based on the technology platform you already have. And you have to have the experience to really facing your customers, really facing the requests purely online, to gain the trust from your customers purely online. This is what we have accumulated in the past 5 years.
But the way I understand banking is that, it's something a little bit different from insurance is that, obviously, we're thinking about deposit taking and then loan, lending, right? So in this process, there's sort of some kind of things that you need to give to customer. Is it because of the lower cost base that you have so that you can attract them with higher deposit rates? Is that the sort of direction? Or at the same time, you're talking about much easier loan approval, for example, be it consumer finance or some other services that you will provide?
Yeah, as you just mentioned, actually we are no stranger to consumer finance. In China, under the credit insurance, we have been operating the business for several years. And it combines with compliance, risk management, and a technology platform. So there are definitely new ways so that everything can be more integrated. The user experience can be better. So it could be approved just within minutes instead of you submit the file, just wait the approval in the coming several days. This is something definitely the technology can bring the changes to the market. And other than that, so the technology can also give us more information about the user and predict the risks. So that's very important for us to structure the business in the digital era.
Yeah, I mean, you're still among some of the small guys, given some of the big boys in the market. HSBC, in particular, has its own digital services, obviously, and they're not taking part in the whole virtual banking issuance here, or wave, I should say. But it's a very crowded market already, banking in Hong Kong. I'm just wondering, do you think that your technological edge here, how can that actually help you compensate for the smaller size that you have in this market?
Yeah, well, overall speaking, Hong Kong financial market is very mature. It's structured pretty well, and but at the same time, the headroom is still sufficient. And we believe the virtual bank just introduced to the market is basically a new species into the ecosystem. They will compete differently with the traditional banks. So they are different in many ways, like they are in the different stage of development. So they care different metrics for the virtual banks. I think most of them will care more about the number of users at the very beginning. And but most of the traditional banks, they have a more sophisticated metrics to measure. And also the way to operate is different. The virtual banks, they operate mainly online, but the traditional banks, they have multiple ways to reach out to serve their customers. And also last but not least, the back office operation. The virtual bank has to be operating in a much more efficient way. And in that way, the virtual bank can be able to serve the underserved customers like a young generation, SMEs, startups. So that's different from the traditional banks as well. So in a nutshell, the virtual bank will be a different business model and serve the different segment of the customers.
I guess before we move on to the next topic, right, just to stay on that for a second, is that, if you think about the customer segment that you're servicing, like, is there any specific groups or cluster of customers? Because, at the same time, Hong Kong just rolled out pure online insurance as well, right? We have the other one called Bowtie, and then we have, they're lucky because they have the voluntary health insurance scheme as a kickstart process. But that product is a very, very competitive space. I mean, pricing is very, very transparent. So, what kind of client segment can bring you that sort of profitability to bring you to the next step?
We are going to target young generation SME and startups. So we are targeting them, one is because they are kind of underserved. And on the other hand, we believe they are actually the backbone for the future growth of our Hong Kong economy. So in that sense, virtual bank is not just a new move for the financial industry. It also contributes to the overall growth of the economy.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about your opportunities outside of China as well. You recently just teamed up with Grab, insurance company in Japan as well. Is there a bit of a risk here in expanding so quickly overseas, given you're still a relatively new company and you're entering into these new markets here? How do you see that playing out? Oh,
that's a separate topic, but that's definitely be part of our international strategy. So, our international strategy is two-folded in Hong Kong. So we are just to get the license. We want to be based here, serve the local user, by the local talents. And outside of mainland China and Hong Kong, so our strategy is more as a technology partner. So right now we are partnering with different types of partners, two types of them. One is an insurance company who want to embrace the digital world. Another one is a platform, especially internet platforms. They want to be better served by the new age insurance. So we are cooperating them in different ways. Like what we are exporting to sample Japan is helping them to build a digital platform for their insurance. And also what we are providing, cooperating with Grab, is a new platform so that the new type of insurance can be better developed and operated on that platform. So that's a pretty lightweight, and so we position ourselves more as a technology partner together with the existing players on that market.